Welcome back to the Tidarium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well today. As we're nearing the end of the year and I still have this tone loc voice, Funky Cold Medina, I am going to talk about this topic of wasted time in collecting. Now, there's a whole lot of angles to wasted time in collecting. It could be that you wasted time buying old stuff that's obsolete and you don't want anymore and now you got to get rid of it. It could be that you have wasted time because you didn't get into collecting early enough and you feel like you wasted the last 20 years by not collecting. I could see that many different ways. You could also feel like you wasted time by collecting the wrong scale, and those are some things that you also have to consider. Also, collecting other lines. I'm going to get into talking about other lines than just Masterpiece for a bit in here, and that is where you get into opportunity cost. We'll be discussing that. And then, of course, the whole end of collecting and regrets. But I got to tell you, there should be no regrets, even if we make mistakes, and I'll tell you why. Coming up. So I've been in this game since the beginning, since MPO1, and I have to say I do have a lot of regrets that I no longer consider regrets. I used to consider them regrets. I'll no longer consider them regrets. But I have to say that I have enjoyed being part of collecting Masterpiece for a long time. But I have gotten rid of a lot of figures that I no longer wanted, that I don't think are any good anymore, and they have been far outdone by other figures. And with that, my first thing I would say would be a regret. Not really a regret, but it is chasing the MP10 as hard as I did. I went after MP, and it was about a year, because I wasn't going to spend $300 on them. And I finally found one for $100. That was a minor breakage on them, and I fixed it and went about my business. And then eventually down the road, I was so excited when we got the full-on reissue of it as Year of the Horse, but it was a clear trailer, which is still kind of cool, and it had gold instead of chrome. But that was my Optimus Prime I rocked for a while because it had the trailer and all of that, and it was fun, but short-lived until other primes came along that eventually replaced MP10 for me. Was it wasted time spending a year and a half chasing down one? Well, kind of, yes, it actually was a waste of time. Do I regret it? No, I kind of had fun looking for it. One of the things I think of when it comes to these old unwanted figures is going so hard after these. Now, this is the Impossible Toys and their whole line of different Quintessons that they had going on at the time. Now, I did go after them. I did pick them up. I did pay like about $80 each. I regretted not getting them when they were on clearance for $20 at TF Source, which is where I got these pictures from. Now, I know TF Source is still going to host these pictures, but these things went on super ultra clearance. I wasn't going to buy them for the original price, whatever they were originally, but I missed them on the clearance prices, but I knew they were too small. See, I knew we were going to get bigger options down the road, but after a while I caved and got them anyway on the secondary market, and I'm still happy I have them. I'm not getting rid of them. It's one of those things. It's one of those relics from the past that I'll probably hold on to forever because Impossible Toys doesn't exist anymore, and it was a whole lot of fun to be part of this era. It's the same thing with the iGear. I mean, was this whole era just a waste of time? Because nobody really wants these figures. You can go get them real cheap for like $30. They don't really scale with Masterpiece, but they were the closest thing we had at the time. And really, it just kind of was fun to be part of this era. Whether you were wasting time or not, you got to start seeing the progression, the change from blocky G1 to some better engineering on figures that were not G1 to something a whole lot different going on in the Masterpiece scale. And when the Masterpiece scale, and we got to see this was fun. Although, this wasn't really all the way there to where I knew Masterpiece was going. The direction Masterpiece was going, these were not quite there. And of course, there was these old Seekers, which I really do think they were more chug scale than Masterpiece. But that's what we had at the time. And that's what third party did early in the day. So if you're part of the whole third party scene and getting chug scale figures from third party companies for a really high price, well, was that a waste of time? Well, some people think yes, some people think no. Some people think these are still some of the best Seekers out there, and some think they're the worst ones ever made. But if you have them and you like them, than enjoy them. Was it a waste of time and a waste of money to collect the Impossible Toys Tetrajets? I don't think so. I don't think we've seen a true Tetrajet representation since these. Now, Hasbro did some, and they were like 2/3 of a Tetrajet, and the bottom was just uncovered. But it was cool they did it, but these match the screen a whole lot more. They look more accurate to what you would expect than what the Hasbro ones were. And I don't think, now looking back on it now, I don't think they were really all that expensive when they came out for what they were. But when they were on sale for $20, I think they were actually quite a steal. One thing about wasting time, well, were you excited for the future when you saw where we were going, and, well, where we've been? I have to say that every step of the way, I get excited for the future. Now, I don't want to see a new Optimus Prime every year. I don't need a new Masterpiece Optimus Prime every year. But Optimus Prime always sells no matter what. So we are going to be stuck with new Optimus Prime every year. Feels like a new Optimus Prime every week. And with that, we're just going to have to accept that. Is it wasted time to keep retreading the same characters over and over, Optimus Prime over and over? Well, if that's what gets a company at a start, well, I don't see a problem with that. But for me as a collector, I'm not going to buy every Optimus Prime that comes out. Well, I say that, but yeah, I'm going to try to stick to the guns in 2024. Okay, so was it a waste of time to wait for the fans' toys, or should you have just gone with the Zeta? Now, I've got to tell you from my own personal experience, I was in on Zeta from the day I saw it. I pre-ordered everything and was excited for it. I even doubled up on an arm and a leg so I could build it before anyone else. That fell through because it took a long time for me to get my Silverbolt, but still, it was a whole lot of fun. It was an era that I was part of. I don't feel like it was wasted time at all. In fact, I was able to sell my extra limbs when the correct limbs came in down the road. I had no trouble offloading them for exactly what I paid for them, and they sold fast because the Zeta is a good combined mode bot. Will the individual bots look better in the fans' toys? Yes. Will the combined mode look better in fans' toys? Who knows? Who really does know? But with that, I still like my Zeta, and with that, I don't really care if I complete the fans' toys or not, but so many people do, and so many people might feel like they've wasted their time on this set because it's taking so long. So the next one is replacements. Do you feel like you've wasted your time on owning the old one, messing around with the old quote-unquote inferior figure, inferior product, and then you get the new one? You wasted your time with the old one? I disagree with that. I think that it's not wasted time because you got to enjoy the old one as long as you've had it. And in something like this, you can have multiple different companies and iterations of the character to get the sweeps in there with Scourge. That makes a whole lot of sense to have multiples of this. Not everyone's going to follow in this one, and most collectors only want to have one of each character in their collection. Then you get into stuff like this. The fact that fans' toys will like to bot block when X-Transbots releases a figure, and then people pass on the X-Transbots figure only to wait 5 more years to get the fans' toys version. And the X-Transbots one's decent. It's pretty solid, and actually to this date is the best Ultra Magnus on the market, and they fixed everything that everyone complained about on the first run. They fixed it with the second run, which is i.e. the one I got. Haha. And with that, are you wasting time for 5 years not having a Ultra Magnus on your shelf? Could that be wasted time? I actually think having many different options for figures that are different because people remember characters differently. They remember different aspects of the animation differently. They value the toy over the tune. So having all the options really is not a bad thing. And so with all of that, is it wasted time to have bought and sold and handled all of these different versions? I don't think so. And I also think that competition is good. Competition keeps each company on their toes, on their feet. I mean, the last thing you really want is companies like Fans Toys becoming complacent and their products starting to suck. Or X-Transbots, you know, X-Transbots has to be on top of their game or their next product won't sell. If they have a super duper dud, they're going to have trouble moving their next product because they'll lose belief from the fan base that they can execute. And I know we've had issues with some X-Transbot stuff in the past, but I've been pretty happy with everything they put out lately. But yeah, I still don't feel like we have a perfect Cliff Jumper, and with that, that would roll into, do we have a perfect Bumblebee? Nothing's perfect. There will always be a better one around the corner down the road one day. So is all of this currently just wasted time? I don't think so. I think we've had a lot of fun with it. So, did you waste time if you were collecting Masterpiece and you switched to Legends, and now you're wanting to offload your Masterpiece and finding a lot of your old pieces aren't really pulling much value? Is that wasted time? Well, maybe it could have been, but you actually reinforced what you want in collecting. If you collected Masterpiece and you decided you wanted to go to Legends, and you have made that decision, and you've reinforced why you want to go to Legends, the space, the price per piece, and the price per unit and all of that. And of course, Legends, you're getting modern sculpts. I mean, a lot of the Masterpiece figures haven't been revisited for a long time. Those are a lot of old characters that haven't gotten an update, and I don't really think they all need new updates. But everything right now going forward with Legends, you're getting multiple different options, and they all look really pretty good overall for the most part. So no, I don't think it was wasted time, even if you've decided you're just going to go to mainline Hasbro, because Hasbro has really done some good work with their main line, and especially since Siege, I wasn't in on the designs, but I was in on the idea of everything scaling together finally. Earthrise gave us the designs I liked, and so with all of that, I really do think if you go to mainline, you can understand why going from Masterpiece to mainline would make sense. So it really wasn't wasted time, although it probably does feel like it if you're trying to get on the mainline stuff. Some mainline figures actually cost more than a Masterpiece counterpart. Blows your mind. Veering away from Transformers for just a little bit, I do want to say that is it wasted time that you collected, say, just Transformers or just Star Wars and not other things? And I do feel this personally. Hits me deep that I spent way too long collecting Star Wars, and so deep on Star Wars that I didn't collect other toy lines. And there's a ton of vintage toy lines. I collect about 81 toy lines right now, but I really wish I would have gotten into some of them a little bit earlier. See, the thing is that they were a lot cheaper 10 years ago, 30 years ago when I started collecting Star Wars, almost 30 years ago. A lot cheaper back then, and I've come across a lot of stuff back in the day for dirt cheap, and I remember seeing it dirt cheap and passing on it going, nope, I just want to do Star Wars. And, Mask got me, and then Bionic 6 got me, and then Voltron got me, and then eventually, the other 70 some odd toy lines got me too. But this is where it comes into opportunity cost. See, when you're collecting and you have the opportunity cost here, this is something that is a potential benefit that an individual or investor or business misses out on when choosing an alternative over another. So your opportunity cost is you could have bought a whole bunch of other toy lines for cheap. So now I'm kind of straddled with the same situation over the past few years where I have actually had to sell off a lot of stuff to pay for all these new toy lines that I'm collecting. And with that, those avenues are drying up. The selling off of your old stuff is becoming harder and harder and harder. It's a political factor now. It's not just a collecting and a finance factor. It's now a political factor, which sucks, and I don't like that. But with that, it gets much harder and more tangled up. The other problem is finding more stuff with all the new rules and policies and laws going into place that don't need to go into place, by the way, makes it much harder for other people to sell. Henceforth, there's gonna be a drought of sellers selling online, but there'll still be people selling at all these shows in cash. And yeah, probably have to go to a lot of toy shows in the future. So the next point here would be the end of collecting. So do you feel like it was a waste of time if you're selling your collection and getting out? If somebody did that, do you feel like you wasted your time with all this collecting? The whole time you collected, you're collecting. So when you're getting out of it, you sell it all and you have nothing left and you're done. Was it a waste? Or was it fun? Did you meet people? Did you learn about something? Did it bring nostalgia and fun and memories from back in the day? So there's a lot of things to consider, but my kind of gut feeling and the feeling I get when people tap out and stop collecting and sell it all off is that they kind of felt like it was a waste of time and they sold it off. But I recently came across a friend of mine who had to sell all his collection because of financial reasons. And it's really sad when you come across those stories, but it does put a smile on his face to talk to me for a little bit. So that felt kind of good too. And the last one leads to regrets. And I got to say this, and this goes for collecting, it goes for life, but you should live life without regret. Regret should be basically anything that you regret should be turned into a learning opportunity and dismissed. So I've learned that I bought this and I shouldn't have, and now I can't get rid of it, or whatever that may be. That should be a learning opportunity for you, knowing that you wanted the one you wanted go for the one you want. Don't pick the lesser if that's the case. That's the case I was with this guy. I didn't get rid of it. I actually customized it and I had a lot of fun with it, but it's a different story. A lot of people out there do have regret and hold on to regret for a long time, and that's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do me any good. It's not going to do you any good. Nobody should live with regret. What you should do is turn all of those into learning opportunities. And what kind of learning opportunity is this? Well, if it's an item that you want, go after it. That's just the way I look at it. But also, if it's something like this, so many people bashed this Bumblebee, but I bought it anyway. And guess what? The official one is still going for stupid money on the secondary market, meaning that there is still a high demand for this figure, i.e. all those people that bashed this. Really, it doesn't bother me that they bashed it. I bought mine anyway, and I don't care. And I got the KO now too, so it's kind of fun to have one on each mode. And then those of you who missed out on stuff in the past, and you kind of feel like you wasted time by not collecting. Like, I didn't collect for the last 20 years. I just started last Tuesday. And wow, I missed out on a lot of great figures out there. I mean, I have wasted so much time. And I gotta say, if you're getting into the game now, there's pluses and minuses, but the big plus is a lot of the stuff getting released is the best stuff that's ever been made. And so you just start from scratch and start building out. You're going to be very impressed with what's to come versus what's already been made. Whether it's Masterpiece or Legends, and I really kind of feel like we're nearing the end of G1 with Hasbro. They are slowing down the G1. So mainline might be the more expensive route to go even than Masterpiece because of the slow rate of G1 figures getting put out at retail. Things might change in 2024. Who knows when it comes to that. But when it comes to Masterpiece, there's so many options out there for a good price that I think now is a great time for anyone to start collecting Masterpiece. So what do you guys think about this topic? Do you think that you have experienced any of these wasted time opportunities when it comes to collecting? Do you feel like you enjoyed every bit of this experience in your collecting? I'd like to know in the comments below. We want to start the year out with a whole lot of fun, positivity, and like, subscribe. Tydream Hanger out.